Welcome back, Ellsworth Elementary students and parents. As you know, today is Veterans Day if you are watching this on November 11th. Also tomorrow here at the school, we will be celebrating our veterans and thanking them for their service, as well as current military, and that is happening on Monday at 2:30. We will be at the county courthouse as part of our Freedom Walk, and we'll have a short presentation from the veterans to honor them and to thank them for our service along with our current military. So the books I picked this week are relating to veterans as well as our current military. And so I picked out several books to read, actually 5 books to read today, but I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to read a little bit about each branch of the military. And so I'm going to pick out a couple pages from each one. I will read that to you, and then I'll switch books and read about some of the others. So if you want to know more about each of these branches of the military, I would encourage you to pick up these books from the library, as each of those are in there and you can check them out. So the first book I will read is about the U.S. Air Force. So this is the U.S. Air Force book, is Fighting Forces. And so I will read a little bit about the Air Force. What the U.S. Air Force does. The Air Force is the American armed service most active in the air and in space. It is also the youngest of America's armed services. The nation's Army, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps were started in the late 1700s. The Air Force started much more recently. After all, there were no airplanes until 1903. The Air Force used to be part of the U.S. Army. It was known as the Army Air Corps. The Air Force became a separate service in 1947. For all its youth, the Air Force has grown up quickly. Its rockets and warheads are among the most powerful weapons on Earth, and Air Force satellites give America an important place in space. Today, the Air Force has about 350,000 men and women on active duty. Nearly 200,000 more serve in the Air Force Reserve and the Air National Guard. The Air Force also has about 150,000 civilian workers. So I'm now going to switch books and read about the heroes of the U.S. Army. A long and proud history. The U.S. Army is the oldest and largest branch of the United States military. Its main focus is land operations. The first U.S. Army, the Continental Army, was formed in 1775 to help the American colonists fight for independence from England. George Washington was its commander. Under his skillful leadership, the colonies won the war. The mission? The Army's duty or mission is to support national security and defense. Besides going to war against enemies, this mission includes helping friendly nations maintain peace. Army soldiers gather information about possible threats. They also rescue soldiers in danger, provide assistance during national disasters, and assist other military branches in their missions. Since then, the United States has always had a standing army in times of war and peace. Brave Army soldiers have fought both within and outside our borders to defend our freedom. Today, the Army has over 488,000 active duty soldiers, 189,000 Army Reserve soldiers, and more than 360,000 National Guard soldiers. The next book I'm going to read is about the heroes of the U.S. Navy. Heroes of the High Seas. The U.S. Navy has been in existence for more than 235 years. It's older than the country is. The U.S. Constitution guarantees that the nation will always have a Navy ready to defend it. Today, the U.S. Navy has nearly 300 ships, more than 3,000 aircraft, and over 300,000 sailors, both men and women. Each sailor who joins the Navy promises to do their part in fulfilling its mission to prevent attacks, win wars, and maintain the freedom of the seas. From the American Revolution to the war in Afghanistan, the U.S. Navy has had many heroes within its ranks. The Navy's birthday. To help fight the British during the American Revolution, the colonies created the Continental Navy on October 13, 1775. After the war, the Continental Navy's ships were sold. The sailors and officers were released from duty. However, October 13th is still observed as the official birthday of the U.S. Navy. The next book I'm going to read about is Our Heroes of the U.S. Marines. The Brave Marines. In 2009, Dakota Meyer made a choice that saved more than 30 lives. Meyer, at that time an infantry corporal in the U.S. Marine Corps, was traveling with Afghan and American soldiers in Afghanistan. The group was attacked by the Taliban terrorist group while Meyer and another soldier were just a short distance away. Meyer heard their calls for help, but officers told him to stay back. Against orders, Meyer and another Marine rushed in. For 6 hours, they fought the Taliban and rescued wounded soldiers. Marines are often a key part of dangerous missions around the world. Many proved to be true heroes like Dakota Meyer. The Marine Commandant. The highest ranking officer of the U.S. Marine Corps is the commander. He's responsible for the whole Corps, which means he often has to make difficult decisions. Archibald Henderson held the position of commandant from 1820 to 1859, the longest stretch in USMC history. Unlike many high-ranking officers, Henderson continued to fight alongside his Marines while he was commandant. And the last book I'm going to read about is Our Heroes of the U.S. Coast Guard. The motto of the United States Coast Guard is Semper Paratus, which is Latin for always ready. This phrase is fitting for this hardworking branch of the armed forces. It's always watchful and ready to act. Although the Coast Guard is the smallest of the military branches, it's special in that many of its duties focus on peacetime activities. The Coast Guard has many jobs that reflect this long history. It maintains lighthouses and buoys for boat safety. It conducts search and rescue operations for missing sailors, fishermen, and swimmers. It also protects the natural world by stopping illegal fishing as well as working to prevent oil and chemical spills. Four become one. The U.S. Coast Guard is a combination of four historical services: the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service, the U.S. Lighthouse Service, the U.S. Life-Saving Service, and the Steamboat Inspection Service. When the Revenue Cutter Service was combined with the Life-Saving Service in 1915. So if you want to learn more about each of these branches of the military, I encourage you to check out these books. And remember, today is Veterans Day if you're watching this on Sunday. And then also remember that on Monday at the school, we will be participating in a special service or program with our veterans to celebrate and to honor them down at the county courthouse. And that will start at 2:30. So I hope you can join us, parents and others who may be watching this, so that we can honor our veterans. Have a great evening. Good night.